Response to how do you address people that have religious belief that may forbid them from voting or registering to vote? Well, my approach is like when we were in prisons as part of street organizations, that what we all had in common that we were incarcerated and administration was oppressing us all. So we got to put all our individual beliefs aside and come as a collective. And even in the community, when we address formerly incarcerated and convicted people, we approach them that same way. The bottom line is, if you're a Muslim or a Jehovah's Witness or a Christian, what have you, a lot of your members of your group haven't been incarcerated. You have. And because you've been incarcerated and you got a conviction, you can't get certain licenses, you can't work certain jobs, you can't go to school with certain financial benefit. That's personally attacking you. So if you content with that, then I can see why you go along with the religious belief you part of. But if you're concerned about your family, and you the head of the family, or you a breadwinner of the family, be it male or female, then you need to look at these barriers that's holding you back from being effective and being more supportive to your family and part of your community. So you got to make that choice. So we just impart the information, throw out some facts to them, and a lot of times people walk away thinking different. So our goal is to change how people think about this.
Right. We have a question in the audience. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, my name is Leslie Gray from Harlem. I'm listening to all the great conversation, and my respect goes out to all the brothers and sisters here, formerly incarcerated or incarcerated. I may or may not be overlooking something as well as yourselves. What you're trying to do is great, but you need to be aware of the voting process in the form that those that don't vote, which we discussed earlier, are benefiting from the ones that do. Okay, we discussed. The other thing that bothers me is the buzzwords that are often used to throw us off track as far as being a minority. We are not a minority. If we were a minority, there wouldn't be the fear of us getting the vote to move these people in and out of office like we need to do. The other thing that we need to hold clear in our heads is that there's a problem if you just got Democrat and Republican and they both playing the same game at this point. If I can go to the store, the supermarket, and get 3-4 different types of peanut butter, jelly, jam, whatever, what is the problem with the voting process of these people that's in office while we don't have more of a choice than Democrat and Republican, and they both hoodwinking us?
Exactly.
Okay? Now, the other thing, it doesn't matter how many numbers you get together and who you put in if you don't keep their feet to the fire. And it doesn't matter whether they're white or black if you don't keep their feet to the fire. You can put whoever you want in there and they'll still do the same thing. Case in point, Obama.
All right. We have some other questions. I'd like to just respond to you real quick. Minority work, just for like less than a minute. People ask me down in Texas, are you fighting for minority rights? And I always tell them no. I don't fight for minority rights because minority is a numerical value that means less than, and I am an equal human being. And so if I ask for minority rights, I'm going to get that, minority rights. I'm here to fight for and get equal rights. Thank you. All right, we got a question? Go ahead, sir.
Glasco from Dorsey, Alabama, the Ordinary People Society Project, the Child Project. What we did in Alabama, the reason I said 3 states, because you can vote in prison with the felony, but it depends on what that felony is. If it's attempted burglary, you can't vote, but if it's burglary, you can't. If it's attempted assault, you can vote, but if it's assault, you can't. If it's possession of drugs, you can vote in prison, but if it's sale, you can't. And we won that lawsuit. And what we did, to answer your question, brother, from North Carolina, we went inside the prisons and we stirred up the prisons in Alabama. That's a red state, totally red. And we went in there and started threatening. We had 2 legislators that were fighting on the floor while we was in prison making an uproar. And what messed around and happened is we went before the federal court. And when we went before the federal court, they asked me 3 questions. My wife was right there with me. Is it in your 501c3 that you're doing voter education? Yes. Is it in your 501c3 that this is your ministry? Yes. Is it in your 501c3 that you will register people to vote? Yes. It's in my corporation, my bylaws, my 501c3. We not only changed legislation, we won the lawsuit, and now they can't even take people's right to vote for crimes that are considered non-moral turpitude. So that's why I say it is 3 states that you can vote in prison, because we won a lawsuit where they can't even take their rights no more. Now we're working on it in Georgia and in Florida. Florida just recalled us back because we got that done 3 years ago. But North Carolina and all the southern states, everybody here from a southern state, please listen. Moral turpitude is in those states that filed Reconstruction. I never knew it till me and Dorsey got in this big debate, and our debates is to challenge each other. And Morris said, well, Kenny, look at Maine and Vermont. How many black folks there? He said, if you won the first lawsuit in the country till people could vote out of prison in Alabama by moral turpitude act, look at the rest of the southern states. When we looked at it, there goes Dorsey Nunn right there. We found out that the moral turpitude exists in all the southern states. So somebody need to help me come on and let's get the rest of them southern states.
I don't know if this is going to work. Okay. My name is Rosanna Cruz. I work with Norris and Vote, Voice of the Ex-Offender in New Orleans. And I really want us to get back to what the person was saying about people who don't vote, because I think it's too easy to just yell at people about why they should vote. But if we got to meet people where they're at. And I think it's completely legit for people to say, I don't believe in voting. We have to look at there's a big population. If we're just going to talk about civil rights and how people died, a lot of the younger people that I talk to, they've seen the ways in which the system has turned around and fought back. So it's true that we have been voting and fighting, and we have that inside strategy now that we have the right to vote. But what about outside strategies? I think that we need to do both. We have to be creative. We have to think about people who don't have the right to vote, people who are currently incarcerated, whoever's disenfranchised, including undocumented folks. And I just want to challenge people in the room not to use the word illegal, especially among FIPs. But really, what are the other strategies? Let's think about using our economic power to vote and using, boycotts and other systems for civic engagement. Just because you don't vote doesn't mean you can't go to a city council meeting, doesn't mean you don't pay taxes, doesn't mean you're not civically engaged. So we have to expand our concepts of civic engagement beyond voting.
Okay, that's a good question.
We know that there's some phenomenal comments that everyone would like to speak to. However, we want to just keep them brief to questions for the panel and the folks in the audience. All right, so just if you can keep your points to questions so that we can have those conversations that you bring up rather than statements. Okay? Great.
Hi, my name is Jeff Ruckman. I'm with the Safe Return Project, and one of the ways I think we engage people, and I'm just talking about for California, is AB 109. And question, that's what it is. Because of AB 109, I get a prison sentence, but I serve it in the county jail, and I'm on probation. Do I have the right to vote? Because in Contra Costa County, the DA and the public defender and the probation officer, they can't agree. And I just want to know, how do we push it forward knowing the DA looked at me, the DA said, I will never work with anybody formerly incarcerated. He didn't know I was on parole sitting at the table. He didn't know that. So the next time we met, I checked him on it, he turned red and ran out the room. So my question is, because he wouldn't answer this, because of the split sentence, and I'm talking Contra Costa County, I get 10 years, but I serve it all in the county jail, and I'm on probation. Do I have the right to vote?
California?
Today,
Great.
national